Hi folks, it's Dave Schmidt. It's the afternoon of Tuesday, August 26th, and this is the video that I'll be doing in conjunction with the August 27th newsletter and radio program. First, I just want to mention a couple of personal things before I go into detail of what I'd like to talk about today. During this video, if there's some times where it appears that I'm going to be coughing like I just did, actually I'm doing okay. I'm in the process of going through a diet correction and also a detox within my body. And I'm actually doing really well. I've lost about 12 pounds in the last 2 months, and I'm really pleased with that. And it was just time for me. I hadn't been eating the way that I should, and I hadn't done a really serious detox in almost 20 years in my life. And so what's happening is some of the old stuff in this process is coming up and clearing out. So that's why sometimes I have a cough like that. I know what's going on. I've got some stuff that I'm taking care to take care of that, and I'm doing just fine. So thank you that you can tolerate me through this as that comes up periodically during this time. Well, what's happening right now? First of all, I also want to give a personal note about the upcoming workshops. Now, the one on Saturday, September 6th in Southern California, Tustin, California, lots of seats still available, and either tomorrow or the day after, I will be posting the registration for the one September 20th in Orlando, Florida, and we're going to be at the Hampton Inn right by the airport. All that information will be on the website. I'm going to go ahead and just do this now, and sometimes this sounds like I may be trying to give an extra plug. No, because folks, I want to again be very honest. I don't make a lot of money off these workshops. My passion on this is not to make money. If you think that's why I'm pushing it, then I'm making money in the wrong place, because I can make a whole lot more money doing something else. My passion has always been for you to be ready, to be prepared, to understand, to have the best information, and to do what you can do to be prepared for the changes that are coming up for us. There are things that I share at the workshop that I cannot share in a newsletter or in a radio program. Why? It's very simple. It's security reasons. And that's just plain and simple. There are some things that I cannot say in a recorded format that can be put out into the internet all around the world that would not create some certain problems. But I share that with people in a personal situation of a workshop where recordings are not being made, or if it is a recording, it's only me, myself, that's recording it. And so at the workshops, you have the availability of getting information that in so many words can give you a leg up, a step ahead, an understanding from what is not coming from others. Now, why am I saying that? On tomorrow's radio program, I will once again be interviewing the ambassador of the Dragon family. And you have heard me say for years they are the source of all the majority funds of this. And then you heard me say last week, they have said they're not funding the RV, the Iraqi RV of the Iraqi dinar. That is up to the country of Iraq themselves, and they are responsible for coming up for the scores of trillions of dollars to fund that. Now, you may have also heard the ambassador make a statement on another interview he does with another individual by the name of Ron Van Dyke. He had made this in a really quick passing comment that he didn't elaborate, didn't go into detail, didn't say anything more about it. He only said it in a small passing phrase in a 34-minute interview. But he made the comment. This RV is very likely going to turn out to be one of the largest Ponzi schemes ever in the history of the human race. That's a big statement. As I've been saying for the last couple of months, don't expect this to unfold as most of the blog writers are saying. Well, there's a reason for that. And if you just put together with what he said and what I said, and with Iraq having to come up with scores of trillions of US dollars to pay for this, you're going to begin to understand not everybody's going to be able to cash in. And that's just flat out fact. Iraq doesn't have enough money. Let's come back to, yes, it's involved in the oil credits contracts, but where does Iraq get the cash up front? They don't have it. China's not giving them that kind of cash. They have to go out and borrow it from somewhere. Do they have a 40 trillion US dollar line of credit that they can go borrow money from to pay for these oil contracts to buy back their dinar? Folks, I'm going to be very honest. This is not going to happen as you and I have thought. This is not going to happen as the blog writers are trying to tell you. There has been a lot of disinformation out there, a lot of misinformation, and a lot of creation of an illusion. Now, through all of this, it's been a part of what I would call, and what you will also hear the ambassador say, is what has been called the deceptive work of the cabal. They are masters at creating disinformation and creating illusions of what the public thinks is out there, and then operating behind the scenes to keep their power and their control. And if you don't think that isn't real, then look at the world we live in. How much of us really know what's truly going on in contrast to what we've been taught in our history books, what comes out of the news media, what is the, quote, official government perspective on the 9/11 incident, and the list goes on and on. They are master illusionists, and yes, they have had their hands and operations in this whole RVGCR process. Now, having said that, some of you are already giving up. Some of you are already walking away. Some of you are already in a state of deep depression. Some of you are already going through issues of guilt, of wondering, what did I get myself into? Why did I do this? I should have believed somebody say that this was never going to happen. And I'm here to tell you that's exactly where the cabal wants you to be. They want you to believe. They want you to feel. They want you to experience the anger. They want you to be in guilt. They want you to be blaming someone else, because that's what creates the opportunity for them to stay in power and control. Create an illusion, create fear, create anger, and you can control the masses. From the very, very beginning, they have never, ever wanted millions of everyday people like you and me to become overnight millionaires. Never wanted that to happen. Why? Because if we did, we then have the ability to stand up to them. We have the ability, with the power of what is called truth. We have the ability to come together, bring some of this wealth in, begin to declare the truth, to create issues that are opposite of the power of the controlled media, to put information out there that would totally expose who they are and would gradually lead to their downfall. Well, I think their downfall is coming anyway. It's extremely important, if you're here with me, if you're going to listen to the interview of the ambassador, to understand that's not the end of the story. It's not. Now, I want to go back and say what's been happening for a couple of years or more with most of the blog writers. I've been following it for over a year and a half, and almost every day there's somebody out there making some sort of a factual statement saying the banks are ready to go, the call centers are filled, the 800 numbers are ready to be released, the TRNs are all in place. The shift has already taken place. The codes have been set. You're going to be in the bank next week. All these types of factual statements, but never hard data of fact to back them up. It's always subjective. It's they, the banks, the call centers, the TRNs, the FRNs. It's always my sources. Never names, never hard data. And when did it ever come about as an actual fact? Rarely, if ever. There's where you see the mastership of the cabal creating illusion. Almost all of these sources, behind all of that, is information that has elements of truth in it. to keep us informed, to keep us involved, to keep us coming, but to create the illusion of the magician while something is going on over here. See, what's the power of a magician? What the magician does is creates an illusion, creates a distraction while a bunch of other stuff is going on. And I'm here to say that's exactly what the cabal has been doing to most of us involved in this Dinar land issue for a couple years or more. Creating illusions, creating distractions, feeding information, keeping us there, while in the process they've been doing what they have wanted to do. Gaining power, keeping us at bay, being able to do what they want. And as long as they have us at the, quote, the feeding trough of wanting more information, then in so many words, folks, let me be very frank, we're pigs at the trough of their illusion, of what is their sociopathic thought process. I started asking questions of that myself about 4 and 5 months ago, but I wanted to be honest enough to say, hey, I don't have enough information at this time. And I've been allowed to go deep enough down the rabbit hole that there is so much stuff that I know that I can't share with you. It's because of the fact that it will come out in time. In time it will come out. But it's all coming to a head now. You see, for months last year we were saying we were waiting for the UN vote, and then on June 27th of last year the UN vote happened. And then we were waiting for all the stuff to get lined up, all the technicalities to be taken care of, and then around September we thought, well, that was going to be. In September we all thought it was going to happen. And then we kept waiting for the vote of the new Prime Minister of Iraq, and that kept leading all the way up until April, and that happened. And then we kept waiting for the appointment of the Prime Minister and basically the seating of the Iraqi government. Well, that happened. It's happening right now. And what's going to happen? There is nothing new to bring. And what's going to happen is that people are beginning to realize this wasn't true. It wasn't as they thought it was going to be, because it's back to the fact Iraq doesn't have the money to pay for it all. You're going to hear stories about private contracts being fulfilled, and that will happen. You're going to hear stories about maybe some individuals getting cashed out, and that is going to happen. And that's going to be enough to keep you sucked into it, wondering, when is it going to happen for me? Now, let me tell you, as it's been explained to me from the family, how this is going to happen. And I shared it a little bit in the video last week. This is going to be a step-by-step process. This is not a matter of just flipping one switch. It's a matter of flipping a number of consecutive switches, one after another. It's kind of like a domino effect. One domino falls, but it's not falling rapidly. These dominoes are falling very slowly. And along the way in the process, it is possible for one domino to get slightly out of position. That could stop it, and then it has to be readjusted before the process can start again. It's going to be a process that's going to unfold over a period of time. But here's what I want to say. For those of you who have been faithfully listening to my videos, reading my newsletters, listening to the radio programs, I want to encourage you to stay tuned. Now, having said that, there's people who are saying, he's doing this to make money. Folks, I don't make any money off my newsletters, off my radio programs, off of these videos that I do. The only place I make money is off the workshops, and that barely pays my bills. But I do that because it's a passion of love. I do that because I believe in that. And I do that because I believe that I'm here for a purpose in what I'm doing. I know that what I'm saying here is so much different than what the other major blog writers have been saying. I'm not here to castigate them. I'm not here to criticize them. You always get to make your choices. But I am here to clearly give you a different point of view, that this is going to happen much differently than what the picture they've been portraying. I'm very adamant about that. I don't apologize for that. It's because I think I've done my homework. I've been able to ask the questions long ago saying, this doesn't make sense. This just doesn't add up. Something here isn't quite right. But yet still in the process, being willing to truly believe there is something that is happening here, because we are in a major shift and change. Now, the radio program for tomorrow, where I interview the ambassador, we were actually going to record that today, and we weren't able to do so because his schedule is extremely busy. He lives in another part of the world, and by the time we were going to be able to get to it, it was going to be late in the evening for him. He sometimes has days that he goes 16 and 20 hours a day of work. Extremely busy man. I'm thankful that he takes the time to even talk to me 3 and 4 days a week, and sometimes 1 hour and 2 hours at a time. But so I can't tell you in advance what he is going to say, because we're going to record that tomorrow morning, and it will be available for tomorrow night's radio program. If I feel it's important enough, I'll do a follow-up video after the recording. But here's what I do get to say, and I've known this for a couple months, but I've been wanting to hold it until it was kind of a little bit more at the right time. I'm being invited to go to China to meet not only with the ambassador face to face, but with the Red Dragon himself. I cannot tell you the dates because there are security reasons around that. I even asked him, I says, do you have a date set now for when we're going? He said, yes, we do. And I said, can you tell me? And he says, no, I can't because of security reasons. Because we know all of our phone calls, all of our emails, all of my radio programs, all my newsletters are monitored by cabal factions. So we can't bring that out into the public because then we've tipped the hand on when we're going, and they would love to do anything they could to stop that. That's happened before. There was once a time that he had to make a trip to China, and it took him 4 days to get a security window clearance where it was safe for him to travel, where they didn't know when he was leaving, what airline he was on, what flight that he was on, and where he was going to be arriving. That's the world that they live in. That's the level of money that they deal with. And we can remember one thing: if you truly understand that there's a cabal element in this world, they don't want you and I getting rich. They are masters at deception. They are masters at illusion. But guess what, folks? We're winning the game. We are winning the game. I want to encourage you with everything that I can to stay in this. Don't be discouraged. Don't allow yourself to fall into deep depression. Don't be thinking, I guess I better sell my dinar. It was never going to happen again. It's just not going to happen the way that you and I thought it was. The family cannot release scores of trillions of US dollars into the current financial system and think that you and I would be able to keep it. Let me give you one quick illustration. Early next month, September 2nd, there's a new law going into effect in the United States. It was a part of the Frank Dodd Act that was passed after, the financial collapse in 2008. And you've heard me talk about this, and you've seen others write about it. It's what's called the bail-in proposal, which means that if a too-big-to-fail bank should end up failing, it has the ability to go and take the money from its depositors. The reality is the vast majority of us would have trillions of dollars in these too-big-to-fail banks that they could purposely collapse and come around and literally latch on to $5, $10, $15 trillion in a very short period of time. The family's not going to partake in that, and they're not going to release their funds for that to happen. So we've been given this illusion thinking that we're going to become overnight millionaires, and there's going to be millions of us, and it could just turn around, boom, just like that, and be grabbed and taken from us. And you may think it may be safe in a small bank or in a credit union. Don't guarantee it. There are ways that they have to reach their tentacles so deep that even there they would be able to attach into some of that stuff. So, folks, it's not what it appears to be, but that's not bad news. That's also actually very, very good news as well. This is an unfolding drama. It really is. And I want to do the best that I can to bringing the news to you, the best that I understand it. I'm going deeper and deeper down into a rabbit hole that even astounds me sometimes. It's hard for me to say what can I share and what can I not share. I share what I feel I can in a safe manner, because even when I say this, there are elements out there that are really, really upset with me. It was not a joke that a few weeks ago my radio program was shut down and taken off the air because cabal elements didn't want me to say what I was going to say that evening. They knew what I was going to say. They were aware of it. Because why? Because I was destroying, in so many words, their illusion. They didn't like what has happened. And also, I was costing them a lot of money because people were leaving certain elements of certain transactions and walking away, or they were beginning to understand the truth of what was really going on, and they weren't going to participate in the things that they've set up. While the cabal is masters in deception and illusion, you and I have the opportunity to always overcome that, to always be stronger. Why? Because you and I are the ones who clearly understand inside of us. Jesus says inside of you is the kingdom of God. Inside of us is the full strength and course of all the light of God, the divinity of God, the light of God. And that light will always eventually overcome any darkness. Will there be stumbling blocks along the way? Oh yeah. Will there be times where it seems like we failed? Oh yeah. Will we make mistakes? Yes, we will. That's part of being human. But as long as we keep the course, stay strong, learn from it, grow from it, become stronger in who we are and understanding of knowing who we are, light always, always overcomes darkness. Now I want to encourage you to attend one of my 2 upcoming workshops. There's plenty of room, and I always make seats available for anybody who wants to come. You know what to do. Go to my website, take a look at the registration page, because it's not just about me. It's about empowering you. It's about giving you information. It's about giving you the knowledge, and it's about giving you the strength to become stronger through this whole process and understanding what's really happening with the strength and the power of money that's being released to us as a human race. So thank you very much, folks. I want to thank you once again. Encourage you to listen to tomorrow night's radio program, where I'll be having an interview with the ambassador. And remember, the radio programs are always archived and can be listened to at any time, as you can download them into an MP3 format. Okay? Thanks a lot, folks. Love you all very much. Okay, bye-bye.